Okay, now we're ready to create a surface from this curve. We want it to be nice and smooth. One of the ways you can have a look at how smooth your curve is, you can use this Analyze tool, Curve, and turn the curvature graph on. And you'll see this, this sort of little graph that can help you see whether your curves are smooth or not. You can increase the frequency of those, and you can scale them up and down. So you can always switch this on if you're a bit worried about whether something's smooth or not. But how we are going to do it is we're actually going to create the revolved surface. So we go Surface, Revolve, and we've picked the curve, and we need to switch on Grid Snap, and we pull it down vertically, and we click it a couple of times. Do check that up here the revolution angle is at 360 degrees. If it's not, you can click on full circle, and that will be 360 degrees. So this is our first go at getting this curve to create an egg shape. I'm going to look at it in the perspective window while using this tool here to try to get an idea. And I'm going to switch on rendered. So I'm not that happy with that. It's sort of egg shaped. It's not a sphere. But as you can see at the bottom here, it's got a bit of a bulge and a flat bit, and you can see at the top here, it's just not quite right. So it looks like it's a bit too fat down at the bottom here. So I'm going to keep that and just move it over here, and we can come back and use that as comparison later. So I'm going to switch the curve back on again, switch the CV points on, and have a look at it. So the first thing was, I think it was a little bit bottom heavy, so maybe we'll do that. And then down here, we want to flatten this out a little bit more. It was perhaps just a little bit too bumpy down here. And the same up at the top here. I was a little bit worried. It was a little bit, there seemed to be a little bit of a bump there. And now Grid Snap's on, which is making this adjustment a bit jumpy. So if you switch that off, you'll find you get a smoother transition through here. So what we're looking for is something where the top of the egg has a nice rounded feel to it. And I say you can switch on curvature analysis, and if you want to, otherwise we'll just go back and we will pick the surface again and revolve, pick the curve, make sure Grid Snap's on, click twice. We've got another revolve here in 3D. If they were both ghosted, for instance, we could compare these directly, and we could think, okay, what have we done now? Have they made much of a change? We could line these up, and we could zoom in, and you can see that the new one highlighted here is much flatter at the top. You can see the previous one underneath. And so this is one very simple way of making some adjustments. So still not quite sure about this down here, so I'll go back to perspective view. And I'll have a look at this and think, okay, is this egg-shaped enough? And I don't think it is. I'm still not too happy with it. I still think this is a little bit heavy down here, so I'm going to go back in and perhaps push this one over here, keep it for reference, pick the curve again, and switch on the points. Again, the feeling is that that's perhaps just a little bit below down here, and we want something that's just a little bit more pointy, perhaps. This is the sort of adjustment you need to do a little bit at a time. So I'll try that again. Surface, revolve, and make sure Grid Snap's on. And it's prompting me for the curves, so we'll go Surface, revolve, pick the curve, enter when down, or right mouse click, and then pick the axis that you want to revolve around. And now we've got an egg that again we've modified slightly. And so you can see here again, it's not quite as bulgy down the bottom here. And we've rounded it up the top here. So that might be getting a little closer. So let's have a look at it in perspective view. So there's two sides to design, of course. There's the specification side, the engineering side, but something has to be a particular size for a particular reason. And then there's the what it looks like. We want this to look like an egg. So that might be close enough, and we're nearly ready to go on to the next stage.